First up we have a Southwest plane departing on a closed runway. Southwest flight for 805 took off from Portland International Jetport at 5:42 a.m. on runway 29. This runway was temporarily closed for a runway inspection. The runway was scheduled to open just 3 minutes later. A NOTAM was released about the closure, but the crew seemed to ignore this and continue with the takeoff. Luckily, when it departed, it flew over the ground crew and their vehicle. After the incident, the ground crew questioned the control tower asking what had happened, but they responded by saying that they weren't yet open. So no controller spoke with the Southwest plane. The plane continued its flight to Baltimore safely. The FAA and NTSB are investigating into the incident currently. I personally think that this is poor from the Southwest pilots, as this is endangering the lives of the passengers, crew, and the ground crew on the runway. And it is mandatory to read the NOTAM. I also think that the control tower should have been open when flights start in the early morning for scenarios like this. Next up, a British Airways 777 rejected takeoff, causing mass disruption at Gatwick Airport. The British Airways flight to Vancouver was due to depart at 11:40 a.m., and as it sped down the runway at speed, it reported a technical issue. This caused it to reject the takeoff at 140 knots. When it came to a stop, it was met with fire crew as the brakes had overheated. This incident caused hours of delays at London Gatwick, with lots of planes diverting to other airports. Gatwick's runway is 3,316 meters long, and the VA 777 stopped in 2,620 meters. The aircraft took about 40 minutes to get off the runway after it got rolling. Gatwick is operational now and the runway is in use. I think that this was a good decision, as it hadn't endangered the lives of the passengers, even though it caused mass delays. I think the fire crew did well to respond and put out any fire there might have been in the brakes. Next, we have Delhi Airport Terminal 1 roof collapse. This event occurred June 28th. A taxi driver died and 6 people were injured. A segment of the canopy over the top of the taxi drop-off collapsed. Indigo and SpiceJet departures have been moved to T2 and T3. T1 will have no departures until further notice, but there will still be some arrivals. It was found out that the portion of the building that collapsed was built by private contractors. This could potentially explain why and how this happened. At the time of the collapse, there was torrential rain, which might be a factor in this incident. My thoughts is that this is obviously a serious incident that has occurred, as someone has died. But I think there needs to be an investigation into this, because a roof can't just fall on its own. Also this week, KLM have announced their new A321 Neo name. KLM have announced their new A321 named Swallowtail. This aircraft has already been spotted in Hamburg on the final production line at the Airbus factory. This is alongside many other KLM A320 family aircraft. These KLM aircraft are expected to be delivered around August time, and KLM are planning to fly them to Copenhagen, Berlin, and Stockholm from Amsterdam. I think that this is a great step forward for KLM, as the A321 is quieter and more fuel efficient. So this is really exciting news for KLM, as this will really level up their short-haul travel product. Finally, JFK Airport T1 secures $2.5 billion of funding via green bond issuance. New York's JFK Airport has received great funding for its new Terminal 1 project. This is the largest ever municipal bond financing for an airport project. And this project will make Terminal 1 the largest terminal in JFK, with 23 gates. The new Terminal 1 will be international only, and the terminal will be over 2.6 million square feet. To compare, it will almost be as big as LaGuardia's two new terminals combined. I think this is a great step forward for New York as a city, as JFK is the biggest airport in New York, so this will bring in more passengers from around the world and making New York easier to travel around and through.